Hi, buddy. Welcome to Arsenal Fan Circle. Here's the Sunday show. Hope you're all doing well. I hope wherever you are, the weather is good and the sun is shining down on your back, and you're getting some of that good vitamin D out there.
It's nice and cloudy here. Right?
Nice. Yeah, a little bit cloudy here as well, but it's the summertime and it's nice and warm, and we want to enjoy the weather the weekend. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. But
It's
officially, go ahead,
been
Tony.
90, been 90 about every day here, raining about every day. So
All right,
there you
cool.
got.
Yeah, the weather check in Oklahoma. For those who want a vacation in Oklahoma, you just got a preview of the weather there. Probably past tornado season, right, Tony?
Almost.
The tornado Tony. Alonso, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Like Tony here, it's cloudy in Texas, and it's been hot, but mostly raining throughout the past month or so, which we needed because last year this time it was all drought, and it was not good for the air, and of course it has humidity as well. So no matter how it is in Texas, it's always going to be humid and hot. So yeah. Anyway, good to see you guys. Good to see you, Ray and Tony as well. Looking forward to being with you guys today.
Look, a real quick announcement leading on to the sort of weather check and taking summer into account. Want to maybe roll out a new format through the summer here. Realize everybody's got things going on. Everybody's busy in the summertime. So I'm going to do a 24 segments, which it'll be either 20 minutes of questions, answering questions from the viewers or anyone who wants to ask a question, and 24 minutes of content. So we'll try and do a 45-minute show each Sunday as we go through, because I realize we want to enjoy our summers, right? And
that doesn't live up to my contract, right?
You haven't signed your. Anyway, we have to decide whether we're going to renew you or not, Tony. You know what I mean?
For season 4 of the Arsenal Fan Circle.
The contracts don't always go up. It depends. It's performance related and attendance related as well, Tony. So if you don't get the minutes in, you're looking like a Fabio Vieira or Emile Smith-Rowe right now in this squad.
Well, that Fabio's pretty much got his bag packed.
You don't want to get into an Eddie Nketiah standard level of performance. That's not good.
I think I brought plenty of fireworks Thursday,
right? Because we have a 25-man squad, and when I put together our best 11 and our second string best 11, Eddie Nketiah, he was the man left over. He was the 25th member of the squad who didn't feature in any of those two teams. So
it's 25th and a half.
It's weird after the first 6 weeks. Arteta's like, it's not that fucking work.
Not gonna work for Eddie. I'm sorry. If we want to win the league, I'm sorry, Eddie, you're not that standard. And
so can we make sure we take him to Palace and we can bring back their winger and we can all see it?
I think at some point this summer, Tony, we will be having that discussion. Look, so the Sunday shows, maybe not this show, but Sunday shows are going to be quick affairs, 20 minutes and 24 minutes, either content or questions combined, and I will set timers, so we'll go for it. We'll see how it goes. 45 minutes are going to go by pretty quickly, but let's get into some of the comments here from the people as well. Moss, BX Jose, no Mo Hangry. Lonzo's in the house. The Arsenal and Truex Galaxy podcast. So check that out if you haven't already. Sub up to Alonzo over there as well. Steven's here. Hey, all. Hope you're doing good today. Working, so I'll be in and out. And I know you do listen in, Steven. Alonzo's off today. He's got probably some NASCAR. He's got a NASCAR shirt on. Right?
No, it's Nautica.
What is that?
Nautica.
What is that? Explain it to me.
So it's not like a shirt. See the
Oh, yeah.
sailboat. Yeah.
Okay, not a cap. But you do have the Phillies cap, so that's an easy read for me.
I might
Russ,
change into my Martin Truex shirt here shortly.
is there a NASCAR race later?
I like
Yeah,
a Truex.
2:30. It's
All
at
right,
St. Louis today.
2:30. Evening, folks, from Mr. Ross Morgan. Thanks for dropping by. Hey, Tony Saliba was always going to play. Yeah, listen, I think we might keep that trending. You got blasted by Stan's misses, and now Russ has taken on the mantle. Saliba was always going to play.
No, he wasn't.
Tony, you're going to get trolled by that now.
Listen to the man's own words. He did two things where you can go there and listen. His exact words was, "I want to stay here and play. If I say more, I'll get in trouble with Arsenal because
Hey,
I'm
Lawrence.
signed to them."
All right,
Hey, bro.
listen.
So unless my French subtitles were wrong, Ray,
Listen, that's okay. We don't need to explain it. We just love this one-liner now. We just Stan's misses blasted you with it, and now we're gonna run with it. The chat box have taken this, Lawrence, and they're gonna run with it. Hey, Tony, Saliba was always going to play for Arsenal. What do you think, Lawrence?
Yeah, definitely. Well, what are we talking about?
At one point in time, Tony said that Saliba would never play for Arsenal.
Oh, right. Is this like his rant about Aubameyang the other night? I don't know what he was going on about, but
Yeah.
I think if Aubameyang had stayed, if he hadn't had his little tantrum and stayed with us, we'd have won the league because he'd have scored the goals.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what Tony feels about that, but
Tornado Alley, Tony. Listen, Mr. Tom is wishing me good luck in trying to get a 2024 segment going, which would be 45 minutes long. But that is the task, Mr. Tom. We're going to do some quick shows, Lawrence, on Sundays moving forward through the summer.
Okay.
2024. I think we can do it, because we all have things to do in the summer as well, but maybe Tom is wishing me good luck because Tony's here with us as well today. You know what I mean? Good evening, everyone. All right. Alonzo, looking fresh. Yes, indeed you are. Alonzo,
I tried to for Russ.
Phillies beat the Cardinals yesterday, maybe again tonight.
Yeah.
BX is good now. He ate as he wanted some Valencia. Violence? Valencia? To be fair, I expected to see your team in the Premier League this year. Yeah, that's to Mr. Tom, I believe. We wanted leads in there. We wanted an easy 6 points. And Tom had promised 6 points to us if they got in. You know what I mean? Brownie's here, keeping the facts straight. Brownie, howdy, Moss. All right, here we go. All right, so Stan's missed.
Tom never told you that.
Stan's misses knowledge of Arsenal is greater than Tony's knowledge of Arsenal. Says Mr. Tom.
Yeah, Ray, we need you on a regular basis.
He's getting trolled, Lawrence. He's getting trolled. People in the chat are saying, Tony, Saliba was always going to play for Arsenal.
Well, if everybody kept up with him like I did when he was in France,
Okay.
You would have a different story.
We were watching him.
Okay, Tony.
We were watching him. We were watching him too. We were on.
Were you watching him not play in the French Cup because Arsenal wanted to let him play? Why everybody else was letting their players go past their contract?
All right. So Lawrence, let me know what you thought. First of all, I'll go to Alonso. We'll go around the house here. First, sorry, Lawrence. I need to speak about Kevin Campbell here. And Lawrence, I'm sure you'll want to have a word as well.
Yeah.
Listen, we got to say our prayers and our hopes are with Kevin Campbell right now and his family, Alonso. He's in hospital right now with some kidney failure. And we do hope that Super Kev, can fight and get through this another challenge in his life, Alonso.
Yeah, it's also hard whenever you read a former Glenner, go through something like that. Just like whenever Jose Antonio Reyes passed away, it's always a hard time, not only for us fans, but us for his family as well. And it's always hard to hear that about Kevin Campbell. So yeah, my wishes to him, and hopefully he'll break through and be all right. I know it's kind of, like I said, rough that we hear bad news from any former player, and it's always sad to hear that. And hopefully that he'll battle through this and get better. But hopefully it'll be some good news in the next coming weeks, days, and hopefully he'll be on a recovery.
Yeah, this thing, Lawrence, I'll go to you next. This thing happened really fast, and we're learning news now about Kevin Campbell in the fight of his life. But he's a strong character. He's a fighter. Hopefully, he can come through, Lawrence.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that bad. I heard a few weeks ago he wasn't feeling too well, but didn't know what the issue was. And I'm just shocked because I remember him when he broke into the Arsenal team. And he's a fighter. I know that. And my heart and prayers are with him and his family and friends at this moment in time. And if I know Kevin Campbell, like I used to know him when I watched him play, when he broke into the first team squad, he is a fighter and he will pull through this. And I said, my prayers and thoughts are with everyone who's connected with him, and I know he will battle through this and he will come back stronger, and hopefully we'll see him on the podcast that he does with
Highbury Squad, yeah.
Highbury Squad and league judges as well. Fantastic guy. That's all I can say.
Yeah, one of those guys who former player, but he always had time for Arsenal fans everywhere, and well respected as well. Lawrence at Everton and other Nottingham Forest and all the other clubs.
Yeah, Nottingham Forest. Yeah,
he played for.
I mean, I remember watching him play for the Arsenal youth team that won the FA Youth Cup in 1988. And back then, me and my mates thought we had a player that was going to be great for us. Once he got into the first team.
Yeah.
He's Arsenal through and through. And as I said, fingers crossed, and I'm praying that he gets through this.
Yep. Yeah, Super Kev. Hopefully he can pull through. Tony. It's unique to have a former player who's Arsenal through and through, but he'll go to Everton and he's revered. He's revered by the Everton supporters, and as Brownie said, also a former Cardiff player. So, and he played in Turkey, I believe, as well for a time. So, Tony, anything to add to it? It's kidney failure. He's on dialysis, and hopefully he can get a transplant.
Yeah, it sounds like he's at the point where he needs a transplant. You can go there and get your kidneys flushed out every week or every other week, however often you want to get that done. But it's definitely in the end, you pretty much need a kidney. You can survive on dialysis, but it sounds like he either has two bad kidneys or just one of them isn't functioning very well. But he was kind of on my tail end of when I was coming in watching Arsenal. He was kind of on his way out, so don't know too much about him as a player, but nobody did outside. Like you said, going on podcasts and other teams still revere him, even though he's definitely a Arsenal fan. Really
Yeah, look,
not much more to add to anything.
Yeah, on the field of play, he had a couple of partners on the field. Alonso, he had Ian Wright, and then he had Alan Smith as well. So the part of him coming through the Arsenal Academy and being a fighter was trying to adapt and stay in those teams as well and become partners to two very different strikers as well, in Ian Wright and Alan Smith.
Yeah, from what I can tell, Ian Wright was more of a classy striker, and if I'm mistaken now, please correct me. But it seems like Alan Smith was more fox in the box kind of striker. Is that correct? Right.
Yeah.
Is
What was that question? Sorry.
Was Ian Wright more of a flashy, dynamic striker, whereas Alan Smith more fox in the box?
Alan Smith was more of your target man. You know,
Okay.
get on the end of crosses, be able to hold up the ball and bring players in. Ian Wright was maybe so. Kevin Campbell would have had to be the foil for Alan Smith, and then Kevin Campbell probably had to become the target man for Ian Wright and supply, hold the ball up for Ian Wright and pass the ball to him. So Ian Wright being that more dynamic player as well. So yeah, that's how he did, and he survived. The competition during George Graham years. You know what I mean? It wasn't easy. As Alan Smith phased out of his career and Ian Wright came along, Kevin Campbell was an ever-present and a hungry player in our forward line. Stephen said, love Kevin Campbell to death, didn't always agree with him, but a class act, a great player and human being. Thoughts and prayers for him and his family. Indeed. AFC always says, watching the show while I'm currently in the hospital with pneumonia. So I hope you feel better as well. Craig, I think it is. My thoughts and prayers go out to Kevin Campbell and his family with kidney failure. Yeah. So this is quite serious. So let's keep him in our thoughts and prayers. It shows that these things don't discriminate. It can happen to anyone. Yeah, exactly. Football in '94 is so much different than 2024. Campbell was beast mode back when coming up, dominating in cups for us back then. Yeah, and that's the thing. When we couldn't win the league, we were doing quite well in the FA Cup, the League Cup, and the Cup Winners' Cup as well. And Kevin Campbell was part of all of those sides. He was going to be our dude, main striker, but then we got Smudger and Wright, and he partnered both of them as well. So yeah, but Craig, AFC always hope you're feeling better. Hope you get through this as well. A lot of things going on at the moment. My dad's best friend had a stroke yesterday. So listen, everybody take and maybe it's a wake up call for everybody. Go get yourself go take care of the medical stuff that you need to take care of. And
just not as often as I do.
Just not as often as Tony does. Tony's got frequent flyer coupons. Lawrence?
Yeah, don't forget he was part of the fantastic 1991 team that went through a season losing one game.
Yeah.
I thought he was part of that team as well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Craig, been in hospital for 10 days, so hopefully you're on the mend. We'll be thinking about you as well. Come back fighting fit. That's why it's best to enjoy life and be positive, stop crying and whining on light. Exactly, BX. But listen, I know people who sometimes there are people who enjoy whining and complaining. It's just their makeup as well. So let's be a little bit understanding of them as well. But there you go. All right, Lonzo, the Champions League final yesterday. I'm stealing the phrase from Gary here. There are levels to this, and we saw it last night. We see the levels needed for Arsenal, Alonso.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching it with Gary and Ryan and Mr. Tom, and Dortmund had their chances, but at the end of the day, seems like Real Madrid were more faster. They, it was just really a boring game. It was like 2-0, and it was kind of I was pulling for Dortmund, only because they're underdog and their way to the final was pretty incredible. Though, it seems like City always win the Premier League. It seems like, and now you have Real Madrid doing the same thing in the Champions League. So, you know, people would say, well, this current Arsenal team would have beaten Real Madrid, and maybe so, but I think it'd be unfair for Dortmund and what they did to get to the Champions League final, and Real Madrid always show up to that tournament. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. I think it kind of shows you that Ancelotti is a good coach, great coach, and he always motivates his players to do pretty well in this tournament. And I believe it was Toni Kroos's last game as a Real Madrid player. So it's always good to see great players win something big like that. And so yeah. I mean, and then you hear Modric staying at Real Madrid for a couple more years. It seems like so. At the end of the day, the best team won. It would have been a good story had Dortmund won, but unfortunately they were unlucky to do so. So yeah, we'll see what happens next year. But I think in the upcoming tournament, you're going to see a lot of teams that normally don't do well have a good go at it, and hopefully Arsenal are going to be up there. I think this is a learning curve for them again, for not only the team but Arteta as well. So hopefully he'll learn from it. He'll learn from his mistakes by not rotating his squad, and they'll be fit to go come next year's Champions League tournament. So yeah, I mean, looking forward to it. Because someone's bound to beat Real Madrid next year. They're going to be going through some changes from what I've heard.
We hope.
From what I saw,
yeah.
they're going to get Mbappe. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, Nacho is going to leave too. So yeah, I think people are leaving Real Madrid on a high note, and like Nacho and Toni Kroos. So
yeah.
They're going to pay for them for years.
Lawrence, I'm going to go to you next, but I do want to, highlight this thing about Kevin Campbell as well. The thing about Kevin Campbell was he was larger than life. He is larger than life, and whenever he was wishing somebody to get better, and feel better, he was very positive about it, Lawrence. So I just want to. Let's have that positivity for Kevin Campbell right back at him as well. He took the time to send me his best wishes and to keep fighting, said Stephen. So, Lawrence.
That's what made him different from everyone else. He knew that the football is all about the fans at the end of the day. Yep. And unlike anyone else who's big in the game, he went out of his way to get to know fans. Other footballers don't give the fans the time of day.
Mm-hmm.
He was different. And as I said, I know Lee Judges very well indeed. He and Kevin Campbell are good mates, as is Sophie from Highbury Squad. And that's what Kevin Campbell is, because in a way he's a fan himself of the game.
Yep.
And I've never met him personally myself. I mean, one day I'm hoping that when I go back to visit my family and friends in England, I'll get an opportunity to meet him.
Yep.
But as I said, I'm praying like everyone else that he gets through this and
Yep.
being back on the TV and doing podcasts again.
Yeah, and at the Tollington and all of those places that the fans congregate before and after a game, you know. So,
Yeah.
Lawrence BX said Real Madrid don't have a diva with the size of Mbappe. It'll be interesting. I think they'll be able to make it work with Kylian Mbappe. But what were your thoughts on the game? Yes, last night, the Champions League final.
Well, it's just typical Real Madrid. I mean, they were absolutely battered. Got absolutely battered for 70, 75 minutes.
Mm.
You know, there was only 1 minutes. Just a shame Dortmund couldn't finish off their chances.
Yeah.
I mean, Madrid should have been like 3-4-0 down at half time. And I mean, I'm just jealous in a way because that could have been us playing Borussia in the final had things been different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thought it was destiny that the final being played at Wembley. I thought us being a London team, that we were going to be there, and I was visualising me flying back over to London to watch us lift up the trophy. But it wasn't to be.
No.
But as I said, I know I'm going to get panned for what I'm going to say, but I'm not a big Real Madrid fan. Suffice to say, it's maybe jealousy, but I don't know. I mean, it's just what they stand for in the game, and you know, whether you get these fans running on the pitch after 60 seconds, so they can touch their idols like we did yesterday. You know, same when Ronaldo played, where you get some stupid crap having to jump onto the pitch after the kickoff, so just to touch Ronaldo's hand. But it is what it is. As I said, it would be nice to have seen Dortmund lift up the trophy. But as I said, it was like a boxing match in a way, where one fighter is pummeling the other fighter, and the other fighter's taking all the punches that they're getting, and then they're doing the business.
Yeah. All right. Tony, Real Madrid, 15 Champions Leagues. It's the culture of the club. They just continue to keep winning things, and
they've equaled all of England clubs combined. It was like Dutch, Portugal, and somebody else. All those combined, Germany and Italy, French combined, still below them. So they do what they always do. They sit there, especially with him. They play disciplined football. They take it, then just a couple of clinical shots, and it's game over.
Yeah. Today's show is brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts, proud sponsors of Arsenal Fan Circle. I don't have any brand merchandising in front of me, but there you go. Yeah, Tony. No problem, Tony. Somebody said on the feed that we had yesterday was those new players come in and they see just the culture of Real Madrid winning Champions League. It's become quite, as Alonso said, quite boring, quite normal for Real Madrid, and that's the levels that we need to aim for in Europe, Tony.
Yeah, even though sometimes they don't have the best of seasons, they still finish strong in the Champions League. Some of the stuff they do is a little out of bounds and stuff, like some of the lies and stuff that they told Odegaard still being their youngest player to ever play for them. So he didn't like the lies of a manager, but the manager at this point said and did, promised things, didn't happen. I think that's why that started off that next season as strong as he did, half season on loan. To me, they're a boring team to watch because you know what's gonna happen. It's just like they're gonna take the abuse, and when they can take
I
the
think
dagger to you, and it's even gonna be worse with Mbappe because they'll be scoring more.
well, that's if William Saliba was never going to play for Arsenal. But Tony, Saliba was always going to play for Arsenal, and he's going to lock down Mbappe on that left side when we meet them in the Champions League final. There you go. Brownie said batted for 75 minutes. Brownie, I think it was probably around 60 minutes when Dortmund had to bring Adeyemi off the field. They lost the impetus of the game. But Dortmund, it's like that, Alonso. Once you have the lead, you need to score on Real Madrid when you're playing well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then with Dortmund, the talent is there, right? So, they didn't get there just by beating teams like that are not great, right? They beat some powerhouses
They
along the
beat
way.
PSG.
AC
right?
Milan. What was it? Atletico Madrid. So they didn't beat no slouches. So I think you could say that they're just too nervous at some points. But it'd be interesting to see what they do with Jadon Sancho. I always thought he was a good player. I think that whenever you force your way to a team that doesn't utilize your talent, like United did, it humbles you a little bit because of the fact that there's a player in there. It's just that whenever you force your way out, it makes it really hard for that team to bring you back. And Dortmund were classy enough to bring back Jordan Sancho, though they didn't have to. So they still believe that he could still be a player for them. Now, whether or not United just sell him back to Dortmund, it'd be interesting to see. Though I respect a lot about what Dortmund has done and will continue to do in the future in the Bundesliga and even in the Champions League. They're a team that has some struggles between, I believe it was like the 2000s, mid 2000s onto the latter part of that decade. But they're still a pretty young team and they're still pretty respectable. Despite not having the abundance of cash like Bayern Munich do. So they've held their own. But when you lose to a team like Real Madrid that have the funds, that have the players, that get the best players in Europe, it kind of makes it tough.
Yeah. Colonel Ward, when he pushes him onto the bridge of his nose, watch him slide back down throughout the podcast. So starting now, they'll slide down a little bit of time, and they'll be on the end of the nose. Right. Tony and the Tornado sounds like a good band.
Every tornado tag for me, Tony Tornado Tag, because I like Tornado Tag Wrestling.
I think he's going to enjoy that too much, Alonso, so we better stay away from that. Okay.
You think you're right?
Lawrence, this is the level now. As I think Alonso said, Man City have been the level in the Premier League, and we need to upgrade through this summer and build up our squad now. And if we do get into, well, we're going to be in Champions League, but if we get into the final stages, and the plan has to be that we face off against Real Madrid at some point in the next 2, 3, 4 seasons.
Well, we'll probably play them this season. The way everything's set up in
Well,
the new format.
Right.
I'm gonna say what I've said before. This summer, Arteta and Edu have got to bring in 8 quality signings. No more Yaya Sonogos, no more Shamaks, no more Sambi Lakongas, no more Tavareses. I don't want us signing someone from the French third division that no one's ever heard of. We need quality signings, marquee signings that have got experience and strengthen our squad, if not on the same level as Manchester City, but near enough so that we can
All right.
take them all the way to take them all the way in the title race and get over the finishing line first.
Right. Let me throw a few names at you then. What would you say to a Benjamin Sesko, a Michael Olise from Crystal Palace, a Mark Gay from Crystal Palace, or a Gramaras or Paulinas from Fulham and Newcastle? Are those the kind of players you're talking about, Lawrence?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we don't know if Sesko is Premier League proven, but definitely the others that you've named.
Right. Sesko,
As
Olise would be a good one for Saka. If we're gonna have to rest Saka at some point in the season, the next part of the show is gonna be throwing some dates at you for us to discuss, and we're gonna see how busy this summer is going to be. But it's got to be where we build up this squad now and compete with Man City in the Premier League and become like where we can win a Premier League with 80% of our best side out each and every week. It's got to be that way. Mr. Tom said Sesko is my boy from Football Manager. Pay the release clause so they can give Leeds the money. Yeah, okay. If it helps Leeds in the process, we'll get a Benjamin Sesko.
He's 20 years old, Ray. No. We want to compete against Man City, right?
Mm-hmm.
You look at the Premier League. You look who scored the most goals. You look at somebody that scored 19 goals, none of them being from penalties.
Okay, yeah.
Assists.
Who are you talking about? Watkins?
I'm talking about Watkins, obviously the best player to choose from.
Okay. Yeah, but the difficulty with that will be getting an Isak or Watson from a Premier League, from one of the top Premier League teams will be difficult.
We got players to trade and money to give away.
If we're talking about a Rashford, even, will Manchester United want to sell to Arsenal?
Why are we fucking linked to him every goddamn year? I'm tired.
If we're talking about an Isak, Alonso, where Stan likes Isak, but
the reason why
will Newcastle sell?
The reason why Stan likes Newcastle is because his grandfather, that's his favorite team. So
but he also, because of the player, it reminds me of him of Thierry Henry and his style most of all.
Right, but the thing about Isak is that he's always hurt or he's always injured, and this current squad don't need that right now because we've had so many players in the past always get hurt or have a long stint on the bench because they can't get on the team. That's my only concern is that if you pay a lot of money for Isak, what is he gonna do? Because right now, Havertz is scoring goals as a striker.
Mm-hmm.
You have Leandro Trossard playing really well.
Yep.
There's even talk that Martinelli could be used centrally as well, or at least talk of that moving forward. So, and all in all, it's like where would he fit on this team? So this is why I prefer Cisco because it will take time for him to get used to the Premier League. He come off the bench. He could start as a striker when Havertz needs a rest. So, to me, it's a more huge of a risk signing Isak, though he is Premier League proven. He may get hurt at any given moment. That's my biggest fear if you sign him.
What what I think the plan is, well, Lawrence, Alonso, and Tony, what I think the plan is, and welcome Gary listening to the show. Hello, Gary, just listening in. The plan is for Arsenal to get maybe one starter, and that starter would probably be in midfield because we're a little bit light in midfield. And the other 3 or 4 players, I don't know if we're going to get 8, Lawrence, maybe 2 or 3 of them, 8. We'll make up 8 if we get academy players in. The other acquisitions through the window will probably be players who can go on the bench, right? So we're talking about Sesko not necessarily starting, but he can come in and get some minutes when Havertz and Jesus are not getting it done up front.
If Jesus stays with us, Ray,
What's that?
I said if Jesus stays with us or not.
If Jesus stays, exactly. The other thing we have to guard against is the likelihood of injuries, because Tony knows the minutes that much of our squad have been getting have not been past even 400 minutes, 500 minutes per season. So we have been using a lot of the same players for a lot of the time of the games. You know what I mean?
Way too much.
Way too much. So we're going to probably face an injury or two, and every player gets injured. But if Bukayo Saka gets injured, most of the fan base are going to blame Mikel Arteta, whether that be right or wrong. That's going to happen,
And he has to be like in that orangish red zone. It's like you have your engine revved up. It's right at that line, and he's just been there.
Yeah.
3,800 minutes of previous season. I'm not going to look up what he finished here with, but it's way too many minutes.
So you see on this banner down here, there's a couple of dates to be aware of, go through it real quickly. It's June 2nd right now. There's a European tournament starting in 12 days. Euros 24 starting in 12 days. It's going to last for approximately a month, exactly a month. So from July 14th to August 17th, there's 34 days. We're going to have to give 2 or 3 weeks a holiday to the players who go to the latter stages of that competition. Arsenal players, and that could be a Kai Havertz with Germany playing in his host tournament. Who else we got? A lot of it. There's an Italian player. There's, of course, English players. England could go to the semifinals or the final of the competition. So we're looking at a situation where we could actually be starting the season on August 17th, and some of our bigger players are just returning and not yet match fit. We're going to lose a couple of games. They're not going to be available for, Tony.
I see an omission there, eh?
A little omission. What's that?
You forgot the Olympics.
Sorry, I missed out the Olympics. Who's going to be involved in the Olympics? Which Arsenal players?
A former Arsenal player is one.
Martinelli?
A former Arsenal player is wanting a current Arsenal player, and Arteta is saying no so far. That would be Thierry Henry wanting Saliba.
Okay. Right.
You've
saying no.
You left out one game in that banner. It's the game I'm going to in July.
27th, July 27th, right?
Yeah.
Here we got it for you.
I did make a note of that as well. And look, so
there you go.
55 days, 5 hours and 24 minutes. All right. So and look, Lawrence, there will be a tour as well, an American tour that Mikel Arteta is going to want players at, but the 27th, let's say players play in the final, July 14th, which is quite likely. You could have a Kai Havertz facing up against England. It could be Germany versus England in that final. So we're going to miss Declan Rice. We're going to miss Aaron Aaron Ramsdale, if he's still at the club, Bukayo Saka, and Kai Havertz. So those, Alonso, those are three big parts of the Arsenal team: Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and Saka.
Yeah, and people were saying that Declan Rice fit on the team very well when it came to Arsenal. Kai Havertz had a bit of a slow start, but he came along very well towards the end of the season, the second half. And Saliba is been amazing. He's been different levels since he's been here, and we're so very lucky to have him because it seems like the fullbacks and Mark Bangladesh even better when he came. So he demands his presence. He demands our respect out not only himself but his squad as well, and he's quietly become a legend at Arsenal in his only second full year. So yeah, it's been incredible watching him play and defend, and it's been I wouldn't say a blessing, but it is just because we haven't had that kind of player in a very long time. So yeah, I hope that he doesn't get worn out by playing these tournaments, and he's ready to go when the season starts.
A couple of other players to mention: Kivior for Poland, and Trossard for Belgium. So
Kivior, another one that might not be with us.
He might not be with us. There is rumors about is it AC Milan, Tony, that are after?
There's several teams in Italy that want him back.
Right. I would like to keep him, but obviously if he's to move on, we're going to make a profit on him. But we would have to target.
I mean, if you're the player, you probably want to move on because you're doing everything right. What happens? Tamiyasu comes back, then you're on the bench.
Yeah.
Then we're signing another left back already. So
yeah, fair. Tony, I want to get your thoughts on this. Is it okay if Arsenal blocks Saliba from the Olympics?
It's always been one of those things that we're always battling. Especially Wenger always did that. He felt like the team.
Yeah, but are you in favor? Are you in favor of it?
I think there's way too many international competitions. I think what's the Olympic? It's supposed to be under 23s.
Would you like Saliba to start for Arsenal, or would you like him to go play in the Olympics?
But it's for under 23s, right?
Yeah, under 23s, I think. Yeah.
So this is gonna be his last chance. So, I mean, he hasn't been able to do a lot of the stuff so he wants to. So, to me, you kind of have to listen to a player here, even though he played every minute of the Premier League. needs rest. But
when does the Olympics start, Lawrence? Do we know?
About 6 weeks from now.
Sorry, Lawrence, you're on mute there.
End of July.
End of July. Okay, so that's really going to eat into this Premier League, the start of the Premier League for us. Gary said Arsenal said they're blocking Saliba from the Olympics. I mean, they will try, right? But I think France could call him up also, Gary's saying. So it can be where the country has the power over the club again. You know what I mean? Gary,
yeah, but who pays Saliba's wages?
Yeah, I know, but the federations have power over that as well, Lawrence. I know what you're saying. Russ said Gary Saliba was never going to play in the Olympics.
We pay the wages, but we still have fucking 6 international breaks during.
Tony, was Saliba ever going to play in the Olympics, Tony?
We'll find out. Depends if they want to.
Answer the question.
And they
He's the greatest evader of questions I've ever come across.
France has a plethora of great center backs. So there's about 16 of them fuckers.
In fact, some people will say Saliba's not the best central defender in the Premier League because Deschamps doesn't pick him. But I don't know if Didier Deschamps knows what he was doing. You know,
how many minutes did he play in the World Cup?
I don't know. Colonel Ward said, "Was Saliba ever going to play under Emery?"
Right. Right. I love it that Tony evades answering your questions, that always asks questions himself. He should be an advisor to Trump.
Yeah, I think you're right, Lawrence. Always be wary of someone who answers a question with a question.
Yeah.
Right? Always be wary of those kind of people. Colonel Ward said, was Saliba ever going to play under Emery, Tony, if he stayed in charge? Yeah, I think to be fair, Emery would have played him as well. He's got the talent.
Emery would have been the one that would have been scouting him. So
Gary say, Ray, ask A and B questions, maybe true or false. LOL. Gary knows. If you know, Gary knows you've asked many a question, Gary, and it doesn't help. There's he always goes to the other option, all of the above, Gary. You know what I mean? A, B, C, or D, or all of the above.
you know, Emery is the reason why Tony still think they're paying back 3.
Andre knows better than
games we do. Go watch when we got knocked out of the Champions League. We played a back 3 that game.
Back 4, back 3.
Hey! Let's not go there.
Well, yes, I'm tired of fucking hearing it all the time, right? If you go back, I know Alonso has Paramount Plus. Alonso can go to that game, and he can 52 minutes, commentators, and he can see the commentators talking about it, and you can see that because Ben White was hurt, that he is played as a center back.
Lawrence, in the new format of 20/24, we would not get this rant or response from Tony because this one arrived in the 52nd minute.
It's just a shame. It's just a shame Gary isn't here.
Well, if Gary were here, I wouldn't talk. So it's a blessing in disguise.
I was going to say we have a good mix right now. It's all good. It's all good. I think Saliba should be picked to play 365 games in a year just to upset Tony. And if it's not Saliba, it's Saka. Tony's a minutes guy and he's a stats guy. And I respect that. Mbappe is playing for France in the Olympics as a part of the agreement in his transfer to Real Madrid. There you go. Brownie with another scoop, an exclusive. Ray, Tony, what is your first name? Tony. Well, it depends.
It does depend.
He could be Anthony.
It's what it says on my birth certificate, not what it says on my Social Security, which is an issue that comes up.
That's a whole other podcast. Welcome in everybody who's watching. Tony is so shady. Not quite shady. No. I don't know.
I know I'm in trouble if I hear Anthony because it's either the cops, since that's what's on my driver's license, or the hospital, since that's what's on my
comrade Antonio, eh? Comrade Antonio.
What is that, Ray?
All right, so listen, this would moving forward on Sundays, we'll have questions, and these will be highlighted.
Apparently, I moved to Italy.
Question for the panel, Lawrence: if Arsenal ceased to exist and you still want to support a club, who would you support? Oh yeah, who would you support if it wasn't Arsenal, Lawrence?
Oh God. That's a tough one because I suppose if you had to twist my arm, I grew up in a part of North London called Barnet, and I don't know if you heard of Barnet.
I did,
but they were one of them teams that played, and they played. They're a non-league team now, but they used to play in the old fourth division of the English pyramid, and their ground was on a slope. That's what they were famous for. So, I would have probably followed them. I would never have followed that crap on the other end of the Seven Sisters Road, whatever.
Nah.
If my
Yeah,
life
yeah.
depended on it,
No.
I would never follow them. But if you were to twist my arm, I would have said Barnet.
Right. Comrade Tonsky thinks Arsenal play in the back four. Okay. Play four in the back four. Hey, Tony, who would be your second team, Tony?
Probably somebody in Italy or Germany.
Oh, you wouldn't be in the English and not in the English league. Okay. I'm gonna get slagged off. People will probably say Liverpool for me, right? So
I'm still waiting for that Arnie Slot shirt.
You're already supporting them, right? So
I like Celtic. I like Celtic, of course, as well. Alonso, who's your second team?
I would say Rangers, only because my friends, who's one of my good friends, Junior Woodlands, he supports Rangers and he gave me a shirt one time. So I always appreciate Rangers, and that urged him to be fine art because one of my good friends in the Woodlands Fire Department supports fine art. So I always thought that we got some good players from fine art as well, like Grant Percy and Van Bronckhorst, so Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. So I always appreciated fine art as well. So it'd be between Rangers and fine art.
Okay. Brownie said Underhill was Barnet's old ground, been there many times. I had a guy called Kelly Hogg who scored loads for them back in the day. Is he related to Ten Hag?
Yeah.
Seriously? He's related to Ten Hag.
Who was?
Kelly Hogg.
Oh, really?
Okay. I don't know if it was related. Maybe Brownie can tell me. He knows everything. The old scene, Brownie. Gary, you should remember what Alonso said when he wants the link for the trip.
Cheers, Tom.
Tom's stirring it up. So get in his show at 4:00 today, in an hour from now. He's doing a Leeds season review. I went to Slough once and went over there to see Arsenal under 18s play them. All right. So yeah, look, the next big thing we're going to be looking at is the fixture list coming out. The fixture lists are coming out on the June 18th. So
they play everybody twice, right? It doesn't freaking matter.
No, it does matter, Tony. It does matter because if we're gonna have a team that's not a full strength team in the first two league games of the season, who do you want to play in the first two games of the season, Tony?
It doesn't matter to me, right? I've never been this avoiding the teams thing. I was for playing City. I thought it was stupid when people didn't want us to play with Spurs and put that off. Both of those probably cost us fourth and the league.
So. Ray, you're going to be shocked by this, but I agree with Tony.
You don't care who we meet. You don't care who we meet the first.
As he said, you're playing teams of twice a year. It doesn't matter if you play them first game of the season, at Christmas time, or at the end of the season. You're playing 38 games against 19 other teams.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who knows what's going to happen? Who of us thought when the fixtures came out this time last year that we were going to slip up against West Ham and Fulham at Christmas time?
Mm-hmm.
Not me. Who would have thought we'd have bottled it against Aston Villa near the end of the season? I didn't.
At home.
So it just it doesn't matter when you play these teams. You've got to play you've got to play 19 other teams twice over a 10-month season, and whoever gets the most points wins the league.
All right, but are you happy, Lawrence, to go into your first 2 league games without Declan Rice, without Saka, without Trossard, without Kai Havertz? You know?
No, but it is what it is. That's the price you pay. That's the price you pay
for being.
You know, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Excuse me. I'm not a fan of these pre-season tournaments. You know, I'm like, yes, it's nice to see Arsenal come out here once in a while, but at the end of the day, it's all about getting the team fit for the start of the season.
Yep.
I mean, all these nonsense tournaments like the Olympics, the Club World Cup, and World Cup, you know, mean absolutely nothing to me. You know.
All right. Fair enough. Lawrence, I'll keep going with you and then I'll go to Alonso and Tony. But it does seem, and just to finish up here, we'll probably go another 10 or 15 minutes. But it does seem, Lawrence, like we're asking our players to do more now. You can see here by the dates that the players that have been on holiday are coming back for a European tournament. They're coming back for a Copa America, if I'm not mistaken. That's happening as well.
Right.
And Olympics.
I have breaking news for you, Ray.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
Every year is a European fucking competition because now they have extra one. You have the Euros Part A, you have Euros Part B because that's part of a.
Last time I saw the Euros come up every 4 years. The World Cup comes up every 4 years. So
that's why the European competition, right? You're playing that all the time.
Lawrence, do you agree with that statement? Every year we have a European competition in the summer.
When I was younger, believe it, I was younger. I'm
more optimistic.
Yeah, it's my birthday on Tuesday, by the way, but that's another matter. When I started watching football back in the 1800s,
Ray, ask him how many candles does that mean?
There was the first division. The Premier League was known as the first division.
Yeah,
as part of the Football League. There were 22 teams. Okay.
Yep.
The season would start end of August, beginning of September. There were no international breaks.
Mm-hmm.
The only 3 European competitions were the European Cup, which is now the Champions League. The European Cup was a straight knockout. There was the European Cup Winners' Cup, another straight knockout competition, and the UEFA Cup, another straight competition. No Europa Conference, Europa League, and all that shit. Okay. Every team played in the League Cup from the second round onwards. You had the FA Cup as well. The season would go right to the end of April. And then you would have the FA Cup final the first week in May. And then you would have to wait 3 months for the following season to begin.
Yep.
Now, what you've got today is you're cramming all these Mickey Mouse competitions, you know.
Yep.
And you're going to have a thing where you're going to have seasons overlapping one another. Because now players are lucky if they get 3 weeks. get a 3-week break.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, you had to watch bloody cricket, tennis, and golf for 3 months before the football started up again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's just becoming a joke now. And as I said, you're going to, I mean, I've been reading reports where they're saying that this World Club Cup, whatever it's called, this Club World Cup tournament, the players aren't going to play in it. The clubs are going to boycott it because of health issues. You know, and I can see it that this is going to happen. The clubs are going to refuse to take part, and the players are going to go on strike. Yeah. And then what are FIFA going to do?
Yeah, as Moss said here, Nations League should not have happened. You know, they've replaced a tournament in effect when you had friendlies and you had the option to have friendlies or not. More matches again. Not a big fan, says Stephen, of international football anymore. Too many tournaments and friendlies. It's no longer special. Alonso, we are going to get into this situation where at the end of the Euros, we got a 2 or 3 week break. Some of our biggest players will be on holiday. Look, unfortunately, Lawrence, there may be 1 or 2 players joining late to the U.S. tour. You're going to go take a preseason game, Lawrence, where you may not see Bukayo Saka or Declan Rice.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, you know, but it is what it is, you know. I mean, I'm hopefully this Ethan Nwaneri kid will be playing because I've liked what I've seen from him.
Yeah. Academy kids this season. Academy kids, yes. They're coming.
And maybe some of the second stringers, but at the end of the day, we can see with Saka, he was running on fumes at the tail end of last season, and we had no cover for him. He had to play. Yeah, it caught up with him in the end. Yeah. And this is what pisses me off about Arteta and Edu, is they just dragged their heels in the sand when they should have brought in replacement last summer.
And now all you have to do is now stay in Linden. You just go over there to Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
We want him.
Drop a few bags for Michael Elise, and I know Alonso likes Gay as well. I like Mark Gay from Crystal Palace. We need to sign a couple of defenders, Alonso, as well.
Yeah, and that's where I think Gay comes into play. I think that he's got some valuable attributions for Arsenal, or he could add to Arsenal. He's, I believe, a vice captain for. Is he a captain or vice captain for Crystal Palace? But I think QVR still has a place for Arsenal. I think he'd go back to center back, where he originally plays at. So he has some kind of depth, because I know at some point, depth has become an issue. So where you could put QVR to back up either Gabriel Magalhaes or William Saliba if needed. So, I wouldn't be so keen on selling QVR. With that said, I think we have depth. I think we could use Tomiyasu and or Ben White to be at center back. Though I hope that there's backups at fullback. As we all know, Timber's going to play left back next year, and Tomiyasu will be rotated at either both left back or right back. So I wouldn't mind seeing Arsenal buy at least 2 more defensive players, whether it be fullback or center back.
Might be needed.
So we'll see what happens, but I know that they've bought really quality players to play back there. So we'll see what happens. Also, you have quality at the academy kids as well with Brooke Mountain Coffee as well. So hopefully they'll bring up an academy kid as well and defensively.
Yeah, and Tony, to add to this congestion, next year 2 big group pools for the Champions League. So we've effectively added another week on to the league season, finishing May 25th, when I think we did May 19th, just gone by here. But there's going to be 2 more Champions League games, right? Is that correct, Tony?
Yeah, two more. It's actually the Champions League now because everybody's in one table.
So tell me about the format again. How many teams will there be in there? And is it 2 leagues or 1 full league?
No, it's one league.
36.
It's one league.
1 league.
36
One league of
teams, right?
36 teams.
1 league of 36 teams. Where do you have to be in the top half, Lawrence?
The top 8. If you finish in the top 8, then you qualify automatically. Then 9th through, if you finish between 9th and 25th, you go in a knockout section for the remaining spots.
Okay.
And then 26 onwards, you go bye-bye Vienna. So this reminds me of that Jasper Carrot joke. I don't know if you remember Jasper Carrot. He had this joke of all the competitions being amalgamated as one, and this reminds me of that joke where he said the European Cup will join up with the European Cup, so they will be competing for the European Cup winners, losers shield, and that's this reminds me of that.
So 1 through 8 will 1 through 8 will automatically qualify for last 16. Is that right? And then there'll be another. The 9 through 26 will compete for the final 8 spots.
Yeah,
knockout.
A knockout.
Okay.
A knockout.
So it's a knockout, right? It's a knockout to get into the last 16.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How many games will there be in the group stages? 8 now? Is that what you're saying? 2 extra?
Yeah. Every team plays.
It was originally 10. The push for lower half teams in each country were raising.
And each team will be playing 8 different teams, 4 at home, 4 away. So you're not going to be playing the same teams twice.
Right.
You're going to be playing 8 different teams.
We are going to be in pot 2, right? So what's the mix of teams that we're going to face in those 8 games? 2 from pot 1 or
2 from every pot?
2 from everybody. So if we're in pot 2, we could be playing 2 teams within pot 2. 2 teams from pot 1, 3, and 4. Okay, I got it. All right, so we would have, and then your league position obviously determines where you're going to finish up in the knockouts.
Then the computer select who plays because it's on the. Is it Swedish? Is that what format this is? How they figure these teams?
A Swedish format.
I think so. I think they're the
Swiss format.
Swiss format.
Okay. And that's probably some technical term for a tournament. Okay. So that'll be interesting, and we'll find that out a little bit later. Okay.
This is why you had the day before the vote for this, is that you had the European Super League come up. The teams basically got all they wanted except for 2 less games.
Okay.
Did you hear that Juventus have pulled out of the Super League?
Out of this Champions League?
No.
Juventus were one of the 3 teams, with Barcelona and Real Madrid, that still wanted to go ahead with the Super League. I read last night they've decided to pull out. So it's just Barcelona and Real Madrid. Possibly Man City if they get kicked out the league as well. But Yeah.
We can hope. Yeah. Where do we see one area slotting in, more at the middle or wing? I think he's a creative player in the middle of the park.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, when you're a young kid coming into the squad, you're gonna have to play minutes maybe that aren't exactly in your favorite position. He's gonna have to accept the minutes that he's given and position that he's given by Mikel Arteta. Sub-laid for Odegaard and wing too. Yeah. Okay.
You have to remember this is true for the first team too. You got Partey playing as your white ringer to start the season last year. Still fucking bizarre as hell.
That was a right back.
You got him injured back there.
Partey, right back, not winger. Yeah, listen, you know what my thoughts are on that, and we've gone over that a few times now. We don't need to continue with that, right? No winter break. So no winter break. Lawrence, we came to Fulham, we came to West Ham at the end of the year, and we were knackered, we were tired, and we thankfully had a winter break that seemed to salvage the rest of our season.
Yeah, we had a nice little trip to Dubai.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
The injuries is what salvaged the season, eh? That's why Kai Havertz became striker, because he had injuries.
Okay. All right, so rumors, Alonso transfer rumors. We'll just finish up on that. Emile Smith-Rowe to Fulham is the latest thing.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen Villa as well in there, and maybe Wolves also. But listen, I'm a big fan of Emile Smith-Rowe. It's unfortunate he's been injury prone. But there's always that question: who's rather sell or keep? And I'd rather keep Emile Smith-Rowe and not Vieira. Let's not forget he had a man of the match performance. Maybe it was against Luton. With that said, I still think there's a future with Arsenal. Even Arteta has said that there's a reason why he's been sitting so much is because he still wants to, I guess, maybe him like he did Martinelli a couple of years ago, coming from injury. So yeah, I mean, I want to keep at least. I wouldn't mind keeping him for at least 1 more year. And just bring him on whenever we have a substitute, even start him, because he's still a very talented player when he's healthy. So, I would keep him for sure.
As kind of like Gary stated, Ray, availability is kind of the best thing you can have.
Yeah.
He's
best
not
ability.
available.
Like I always say, Tony, the best ability is availability.
But that's on that's on Arteta as well.
The thing is that him and Fabio's never gonna be good enough. You want us competing for the Champions League? These guys have to go.
The thing is, Emile Smith-Rowe is good enough, Tony.
He is good enough. But if we get a fee, we have to draw a line under Emile Smith-Rowe. Unfortunately, if we get 30 million for him, not quite. Lawrence, what do you think about Emile Smith-Rowe? You're happy to let him go?
I think it's unfortunate that he's been hampered by injuries, But let's face it, he's not going to get game time. He's going to be sitting on the bench. And a player with his experience needs playing time. And as much as I want him to stay, I think the best thing for him is to find somewhere else, because I don't think Arteta can give him the game time that he needs. I mean, we saw it in some of his performances. He was very rusty when he came back.
Yeah.
Not the player he was when he broke into the first team squad. And it's a shame, because I had high hopes for him. I thought he would be as big a star as Saka, and it just hasn't worked out. Nothing to do with him. It's just unfortunate that he picked up a lot of injuries.
Injuries have been the bane of his existence for the last 2 seasons. Tony, Vincent Company.
The last two, right? It's been his whole career.
Well, yeah, you're right. It has troubled him. He's probably played more. He's probably been injured more than he's played. To be fair, Tony.
I mean, that's why he had a wasted year with us, because we cannot loan him out because he was injured. We cannot play him because he was injured. So.
Yeah. So Tony, I'm just gonna leave you guys for a second, but Tony, talk to me about Zinchenko going to Bayern Munich and Kivior maybe going to Serie A.
I don't like losing two of them. It's been the biggest news for the last 3-4 weeks. Arsenal looking for another left back. I mean, how many times do you have to keep going back to the well to say, "Oh, we'll keep this one"? You have Timber; he should be good enough. Zinchenko, in my mind, was never a left back. Played there, but wasn't one. To me, you see why Kivior wants to leave, because, like I said, as soon as Taniyasu was healthy enough, Kivior went to not playing again. Kivior, that's what I hate about Arteta. You see these players that are playing really well, and his little crayons come back into their boxes. And he's like, fuck you. He's like, fuck you. You're not playing it anymore because I got my money back.
But Tony, Saliba was always going to be the first crayon in the box. Saliba was always going to be the first crayon in the box.
I'm not sure that's Arteta's first crayon.
Well, after Saka and Odegaard, maybe, but yeah, he's definitely in the top 6 crayons in that box.
It seems like 5.
If it's a 12-pack, Saliba's in the first half dozen.
Yeah.
Yeah. In my day, Ray, it was the first felt tip. Remember felt tip pens?
Yeah.
Yeah, we get those anyway.
So Tony, what you're saying is you're not wanting to let both fullbacks go, like maybe one, but keep Kivior for that left back position.
Kivior is too good. Like, he's available to play there, available to play as center back, is good at defensive mid. So he's one of these utility players that Arteta likes. These utility players.
Inverted fullbacks, Tony, with Kivior. Stephen O'Toole, Stephen's here. Yesterday's paper talk, Zinchenko and Lokonga to Bayern. I hope that this happens too. Lightweight. Yeah, listen, I think we're going to be in a situation this summer where the market's going to demand what happens. The market's going to dictate what happens. Who wants to come and take our players? There's Ramsdale in there. There's
Teabag.
Kivior. There's Teabag. Tony Gary wouldn't like that though. Fabio Vieira, Emil Smith-Rowe, Eddie Nketiah. He couldn't even make my first 2 first 11s.
I will personally take Eddie Nketiah to wherever he wants to go.
Ipswich or
I'll
Leeds.
fly back to London. I'll fly back to London and take him wherever he wants to go.
Maybe Gabriel Jesus.
But don't you just pack him up, take him to Crystal Palace, say we're taking your winger, you can have our striker that you need. So.
Yeah, I will move Eddie Nketiah to defensive midfield because that's where he played too.
Yeah, indeed. All right, Listen, I think it's not a bad place to wind it up. We'll put the wheels down and give everyone an
But which
opportunity.
one would you sell? Which one of those would you sell first?
Between who and who?
All the ones that you that are rumored.
Eddie and Kedia first. Eddie and Kedia first. Fabio Vieira second.
Yeah,
Then
Vieira for me would be the first,
Zinchenko, maybe
first
Jesus.
one.
To me, Zinchenko's first to go.
Zinchenko's first to go. There you go. And
Yeah,
that puts that draws a line under our being what pragmatic or progressive. Didn't work, did it?
But I think that's
It's never worked.
it's up to Arteta.
It's never worked. He was living off. He was living off those 2 goals against Norwich on his debut for us in the League Cup, and he's done nothing. He's regressed. He hasn't moved forward one iota.
Yeah. Eddie and Kedia.
Yeah.
Balogun, following Balogun as well. Didn't have a great season either. 6 or 7 goals.
Well, he never got a chance. He never got a chance to prove himself.
Well, he did in the French league. This season he did in the French league, Lawrence.
Yeah, great, but we ruined a year of his development by the contract tax.
Well, he hasn't developed, has he?
Does it hurt your development when you're sitting there at 19 years old not playing a game?
He had a full season. This past season, he played a full season, Tony.
That's not what I'm talking about. He lost a year of development when he was sitting there.
Well, he didn't regain it. He didn't regain it this year, did he? This season, gone. That's what I'm talking about.
It's never to come back, is it? It's stolen. That's a critical year of development that he was stripped of. He wasn't even playing them under 23.
Also news. It looks like Benjamin Sesko is someone we're going to bring in. It looks pretty solid right now, and want to bring him in. Want to bring him in before the Euro starts, Tony?
No.
Euro 24. Tony doesn't like.
I'm taking it.
I remember this.
I remember all this happening before with a certain player who went to Chelsea. How much he wanted to come to Arsenal, and where did he end up?
At Chelsea.
Yeah.
Mudryk.
There.
Yeah. Mudryk. I don't think Mudryk.
I'm taking this with a pinch of salt.
Ask your favorite football guy who he knows who's going everywhere, and he is not our first choice. Our first choice is Osman still. Osman.
All right. Listen, we'll wind it up there. Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Lawrence. Thank Alonso. I will give you a chance to say your piece before we leave, but reiterate these dates. The Euro 24 starts June 14th. We'd want to get Sesko in before then. I think the player wants to do that as well. I think something will happen in the next week.
Not coming, Ray. It's not coming.
You said that about Saliba.
He's 20 fucking years old, Ray. You know that. That's like
Saliba was younger. Saliba was probably younger than that.
Yeah, and guess what? He didn't play for us for 3 fucking seasons.
Yeah.
And
he was on loan, Tony. He was on loan. He can't play for us when he's on loan.
He was with us, Ray, and he didn't play.
That tournament will go on for a month, July 14th. Lawrence, go ahead.
Tony. Yeah, can you give me your opinion about Aubameyang again? I missed some of it on Tuesday.
Boomerang.
What I was talking about was I was for selling him because he was such a bad presence in the team. The team scored more goals when he was on the left wing. Arteta insisted on playing him through the middle. It didn't work. Finally, injury. or actually it was an injury. Finally, you got shit canned, and you had Smith Rowe playing. Smith Rowe was doing good. Lacazette was doing good. The team improved, and we moved up the table.
Because that was doing awful, Tony.
He was
No,
awful.
He
He
was
was
not
awful.
doing awful during that time.
He was
No,
awful.
he was bad.
The
He
coach
was
in
not.
the
He couldn't
documentary.
score any goals,
Tony.
Tony.
In the documentary, they had to make a feature of the coaches bringing him in for one-on-one discussion. I think if you get in the box, you'll score more goals, said the coach.
Well, apparently Arteta didn't want him to. You see Jesus doing the same fucking thing. You see.
All right.
Did
Lawrence,
you see Jesus deep for Arsenal?
Lawrence
Yes,
is
you
going
did.
to Lawrence is going to be at the preseason game on the 27th. The players will have a couple of weeks off, and the Premier League starts the 17th till the 25th with the new Champions League format, which I've learned.
Here's how long he has to wait.
You're counting every second, Lawrence. You're hanging on
I'm
every
holding
second.
my breath. Yeah.
There will be no winter break. There will be no winter break. Alonso, final thoughts, Alonso, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ray. Good to see you, Lawrence and Tony as well. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the summertime, see who Arsenal bring in, and looking forward how England doing in the Euros. Hopefully they'll be successful. Until then, yeah, take care, everyone. Have a good week.
And Kevin Campbell, let's hope he pulls through.
Yeah, hopefully, we're all hoping for the best for Kevin Campbell. He means a lot to Arsenal fans. Don't want to see anyone else pass away due to very unfortunate circumstances. So stay strong, Super Kev, and let's go Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah, let's go Martin Truex Jr. and the Phillies. Moss, one thing you need to know about Tony, he never changes his mind.
Because he has a narrative.
He's set. His narratives. His hot takes. Tony, what have you got?
What I got? Still too much. Still too many tournaments. And you have Rangers sitting there that basically won the World Cup every season. It's like,
no, it's not every season, Tony. Every 4 years.
Yes,
That's what he wants
every year.
That's what Wenger wants, but it's not going to happen.
And like I said, you have Euros, but what do you have between there, right? What do you have between Euros?
The Premier League.
What do you have between the Euros?
I don't know. You tell me.
What tournament do they use now as part of a qualification?
See, he's answering a question with a question. Classic Tony.
Yeah, you have it, Ray. What is it? Euro what?
All right, Tony, any words of wisdom? Final word?
No,
something positive?
Just make the most of each day and move on.
Exactly, Tony. Make the most of each day. All right, Alonso, you get the honor of the final words. Take us out of here, Lawrence. Lawrence.
Yeah, again, Lawrence. Okay, all right.
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
Yeah, well, how original, Tony. If I'd have died for every time someone said that, I'd be a rich person. Yeah. Again, my thoughts and prayers are with Kevin Campbell. I'm hoping he will pull through. I'm thinking about him and his family and friends, and I've got my fingers crossed. My birthday on Tuesday as well. I turned another year.
Save some of that cake for Thursday night forum. Save some of that for Thursday night forum.
Yeah. And some of the candle wax from all the candles.
Yeah.
How many candles, Lawrence? How many candles?
21. Yeah, well, as I said, looking forward to watching the team when they come out here at the end of July.
Yep.
You know, so it's always nice to see Arsenal come out here, and I've been fortunate enough to watch them 4 times when they played out here in Los Angeles. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm hoping for a successful Euros for England, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens during the summer transfer window. I do not believe any gossip at all that's printed about players we're linked with until there's an actual photograph of them wearing an Arsenal shirt. Nothing superimposed of a player's head on an Arsenal shirt like with Declan Rice last year, and now probably with this Sesko kid. But as I said, we go again in August, and let's take City all the way again. This time, getting over the line first.
Yeah, 100%. It's only by doing that and becoming really good in the Premier League that we're going to venture into Europe in this new Champions League format. And remember, Pep Guardiola with Man City took him 5 or 6 seasons before he actually got to win it. So hopefully we can do it in a shorter amount of time under Mikel Arteta. And one other thing, thank you, Alonso Lawrence, for being here. Tony, one other thing, thanks for being here, Tony. But one other thing, William Saliba was always going to play. Was always going to play for Arsenal.